there's just times where I'll just stop doing stuff. I'll just isolate myself and just kind of like or solely focus on one thing. Most of the time it's track because I'm getting something out of it. Yeah, a lot of times I'll just lock away and don't do school for 3 weeks or something like that. Not even go to class. But personally, I just sleep all the time, so it makes me just kind of just go through the days. I'll go to practice, come home, go to sleep. Probably take a nap, shower, eat, maybe do an assignment, go to sleep, do the next day over again. It's just kind of merges everything, so I don't really deal with anything. I just kind of just go through the motions. I didn't have, I wouldn't say a breaking point, but it was a moment of realization where it's all right, it's my last year. There's times where I feel like I'm just cast to the wayside to an extent. There was a point a couple weeks ago that I was like that, but then it kind of came out of that moment because coach did start coming up to me and hey man, we're just gonna focus on this, this is what you need to do and stuff like that. Beforehand it felt like I wasn't really he didn't really care that I was there, but then yeah, I guess he probably felt that energy and was I need to say something, so it changed.
I have found myself, I would call it more of a rock bottom, but it turned into a breaking point for sure. And it's something that I've never really talked about because it's, to me, embarrassing, and I feel like the expectations or the way I'm perceived, it doesn't align with that at all, so I haven't talked about it really. The biggest thing for me is hiding, suppressing, people-pleasing, and not dealing with things. And with being in college sports, that was able to slide in the past when I had, less things to focus on, but here it was just one of those times when it had gotten too much. It was too heavy what I was trying to carry everything and trying to still perform and show up in every other way. I had just turned against myself completely. It was all those times I chose not to talk about it, it caught up to me and I completely turned against myself. I was alone and just wanting everything to stop, every emotion I was feeling to stop, and I did self-harm myself and immediately regretted it because I was this is not who I am, and this is not healthy. It was very scary for me, very, very scary, just because you feel like you can't trust yourself. And that's when I realized something needed to change, and that's when I started seeking help and going to therapy and using the resources that were there to help me. And since then, I have learned a lot, have opened up, and a lot has changed, but being at that point, it's nowhere I would ever want anybody to be at, but I know so many people go through it, and so many people have very dark and low points. So I think talking about it is the only way to accept it and realize it's not who you are, it's just part of your story, and it's part of who you are, but you're stronger than a weak point in your life.
Track is very much a sport that's individualistic, so if everything's on you, so if you did bad, it's very much going to hit yourself, okay, I ran bad, there's something up with me, I messed up, I need to do this. It's just the results of your race does press down on makes you think about yourself or what you need to change.
Having dark moments, having dark thoughts, sometimes I could creep in while I'm running my race, while I'm actually, you have to tell yourself, to fight through the pain at practice. For me, I'm a 400 runner. The 400 race for me is more a mental battle than a physical one. So it can sometimes creep in and cause me to perform really bad. And I'm physically there, I'm physically able to, but getting over that mental block feels impossible sometimes. And that just leads to more disappointment and kind of builds onto it if you don't handle it and process it correctly. I think student athletes are overlooked just because there's such a big focus on what they are doing, what they are accomplishing. That's really what excites people when they hear about it. Oh, how'd you do? Oh, look, did you see what they did? But then it's like, because they're achieving so much, you don't think that there could be any negative tied to that. Because if there was negative, they wouldn't be achieving. But I think student athletes are really good at compartmentalizing and, you know, working through things. They carry it so well and they can still perform, but that doesn't mean that they're not having, you know, as much mental health struggles as anybody else.
If it's a physical injury, it's very much different. I'll be like, okay, I'm like, I need to stop or something like that. But yeah, mentally, I'll just be like, all right, you just gotta lock it in. If you really are feeling some type of way, just talk to somebody, regardless of who it is. It could be your parents, it could be a friend, it could be anybody. But if you're really feeling like it's something bearing down a lot, just reach out to anybody. It doesn't have to be professional. It could be your coach. If you feel like that's too much for your coach, just talk to somebody. I think that's the main thing. Most schools have like counseling and stuff like that you can like access. I would say just use it.
I would like to tell anybody silently struggling that as scary as it is to break that silence and to allow yourself to get help, you should do it, because I just wouldn't want anybody I care about to ever feel so dark and so alone to the point where it affects you in every way possible. You are worth being cared about. There are people around you that love you and want to see you do good and want to help you. But you first have to get out of your own way, let go of your ego, and take the steps to take care of yourself and to ask for that help.